Hey guys, I'm just looking over my shoulder here in New York City, making sure that Braun Strowman's not behind me before I do this video blog. It's been a while since I've talked to you guys, and for good reason. The WWE product has not been very interesting as of late. One would think that with the Shield reuniting, with Braun Strowman still holding a briefcase, which he could technically hold for another year, the rest of the year at least, that things would get really interesting in WWE, the return of Dean Ambrose. But instead, at least when it comes to Monday Night Raw, things have been anything but interesting. In fact, they've actually made the Shield reunion kind of boring. I'm Fred Richani. This is TSC News, your home for pro wrestling news updates, interviews, and everything in between. Here with a question that I posed to all you and really to myself. And I've posed this question a lot lately. Is Braun Strowman the next Ryback? Hell, he might already be. Allow me to explain, because you see, around this time 6 years ago, there was a young upstart by the name of Ryback. A guy who a lot of people, before becoming Ryback, when he was just riding Reason Tough Enough, kind of threw in the towel on him, figured he's not going to be a big star or whatever. He was in developmental for a while, got rehired, yada yada. He was Skip Sheffield in the Nexus, didn't really get over there. And yet somehow, some way, this guy got over with a Goldberg-like winning streak, just destroying people left and right, winning squash matches. He got thrust into the main event position with CM Punk. John Cena was hurt at the time, or something was going on with Cena at the time. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head what happened. But John Cena was not in the main event picture at the time. And instead, CM Punk needed a new opponent. He had his quote-unquote longest reigning WWE Championship in modern times. And it was Ryback versus CM Punk at Hell in a Cell. And there was actually a pretty good buy rate and a whole lot of intrigue for this match because Ryback had been undefeated. CM Punk had been on this long winning streak as the world champion. Something had to give. And in retrospect, and even at the time, you figure WWE's got to put over this new guy because Ryback has muscles, big dude, fits the mold that Vince McMahon wants from the 80s, even if it's an outdated mentality. And he's gotten over organically. I repeat that. Organically. So what did they do? They had Ryback lose due to a crooked referee in Brad Maddox, who's been long forgotten now. And over the course of the next few months, they proceeded to beat Ryback. And beat him again. And beat him again. And beat him again. And ironically enough, him losing all the time came at the heels of the Shield's main roster debut. And lo and behold, Ryback never ended up winning a world title in WWE. And say what you want about the guy outside of the ring right now. He's made some questionable statements on his podcast and everything. But the guy's no longer with WWE. And he never, ever got to that top level again. He was in some pay-per-view main events, but it was never the same. He had a decent career at the end. Won the Intercontinental title. Actually became a better worker than people gave him credit for. But never reached his full potential. Now you look at a guy like Braun Strowman, who actually was booked to get over, and did not only get over because WWE pushed him to get over, but got over organically over the last 2 years. Okay, it's been 2 years and plus since Braun Strowman has been squashing dudes, breaking things, tipping over entrances, tipping over ambulances, coming back from the dead, getting babyface reactions, started off as a heel, became a huge babyface, literally and figuratively. And here's a guy, much like Ryback back in the day, fits Vince McMahon's mold. Tall, big muscles, big guy. Somebody that they chose to push that got over. But here's the problem. That problem is Vince McMahon's obsession with getting Roman Reigns over after 4.5 years. That's Vince McMahon's obsession with getting over one top babyface more than the other, rather than having a number of big stars, right? Like back in the Attitude Era or even during the Cena-Orton era when it first started out, not when they started burying the whole roster. I mean, even back when they were kind of burying the roster in some ways. I mean, you had Cena at least, you had Orton, you had Batista, to a lesser extent you had Booker T and Rey Mysterio, like Edge, Randy, you had guys, okay? The roster still could have been deeper as far as how they were booked, but you had guys in the mid-2000s. Here, you have the Shield, who you've minimized in the form of Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose in order to get over Roman Reigns and not get him booed. So what do? Do you patiently book an eventual matchup between Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman, where Braun Strowman finally cashes in his Money in the Bank. No, do you know what you do? You undermine him. You put him in multiple positions or to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase, not be able to do so. He's failed like 2 or 3 times already. And now you not only turn him heel when he was the most over babyface on your roster, but you put him in a Hell in a Cell match with Roman Reigns 1 month into Roman Reigns' long-awaited Universal title reign. And now you're in a conundrum because WWE could have Braun Strowman win, but he'll probably win via tomfoolery since he's now aligned with Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre of all people, and he'll be a heel. Or you have Roman Reigns beat him because you don't want Roman Reigns to just once again be a lame duck champion like he was the last 3 times. So if you're WWE, what do? At this point, it's like even if Braun wins, even if Braun is crowned champion, unless you turn Roman Reigns heel in some capacity, which they're clearly not going to do, Braun Strowman is essentially Ryback. He's a guy that was in a position multiple times over the last year to be the guy, to be the champion. Actually, he got way more opportunities than Ryback ever did. And yet, he failed every time. You couldn't have him beat Brock Lesnar once. You couldn't have him beat Brock Lesnar twice. You couldn't have him win at SummerSlam. You couldn't. So what makes me think that they're actually going to put him over at Hell in a Cell? And not only that, right? But let's just say that somehow, some way, he wins at Hell in a Cell. Does it really matter at that point? Honestly, does it really matter at that point? Because you forewent his potential. You circumvented that to get Roman Reigns cheered. I don't know. I personally think it's too late for Braun Strowman, and while he can still get over, while he can always turn him back babyface, I think the toothpaste is out of the tube. I think his peak, unfortunately, has already passed. I hope I'm proven wrong. And he is still a relatively young guy, but you got a short window to really strike the iron while it's hot, and I feel like WWE has missed that opportunity with Braun Strowman time and time again. And win, lose, or draw at Hell in a Cell, I think it's irrelevant at this point, but that's why I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about Hell in a Cell? What do you think about Braun Strowman's quest to become the next world champion, or the next Ryback, I guess, at this point? And what do you think about the rest of the Hell in a Cell card? AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, which is not taking place in Hell in a Cell for whatever reason. They have a rematch booked at Super Showdown a couple weeks later. That's telegraphing things. Do you think Samoa Joe needs to win? What do you think about Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy taking place inside Hell in a Cell? What do you think about Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler winning the tag titles? What do you think about Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch? Do you think we need at least one women's Hell in a Cell matchup on the show? As in, like, actually in the cell, which it looks like we're not going to get this year. What do you think about Rousey versus Alexa Bliss? What do you think about WWE Evolution, which features Alexa Bliss versus Trish of all matches and Lita versus Mickie James? Let me know. Leave a comment below. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. Please share this with all your friends. If you haven't already checked out my 2 new game reviews on NBA Live and Pro Evolution Soccer, please do so. Please check out our top 10 SummerSlam moments video as well. I think you'll enjoy that. And until next time, everybody, as always, enjoy the matches. Braun, sorry, bruh. Please don't come after me.